Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Todd Talk. Because when Todd talks, people listen. Hopefully, I love my hair. I can't help it. So I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving if you celebrated it, and I hope you're relaxing this weekend on Saturday when I'm recording this. I'm hoping to have a good weekend myself, but I wanted to make sure I got this Todd Talk in because we have a potentially very epic matchup coming up on Death Battle. We have, and I apologize if I'm saying this name wrong, Roronoa Zoro, who's apparently supposed to be called Zoro, whatever, versus Erza Scarlet. I said Ezra last time in my reaction video for Hulk Doomsday, so I'm sorry. As I noted actually at the end of that video, I have no idea who these characters are in regards to their animes because I have not watched One Piece. I hadn't even heard of Fairy Tail before, I don't know, like a year ago, maybe. Uh, and even then I didn't really know what it was. So hey, don't give me that look, okay? I've watched my own animes. That sounded wrong. I watch animes. I just haven't watched those ones. And when a anime is on episode 800 and 500, and you just finding out about one of them, for example, yeah, it's kind of hard to get into that. So, but let's move on. Funnily enough, on the Death Battle cast that they had recently, which I got to listen to yesterday, they noted why they're doing this matchup, which is for me kind of important. And they go because these are the top tier fighters. Roronoa. I swear I'm gonna say his name so many times differently episode. Roronoa. See, I can't even do it now. I'm just gonna call him Zoro. Zoro is the fighter on the Straw Hat Pirates. I mean, he's apparently so powerful that people think he's the captain and not Luffy, who is, no slouch himself. But then you got Fairy Tail, as they noted in the Death Battle cast, like everyone looks to Erza. Everyone says, Erza, can you handle this? And she does, quite epically. So this is pretty good, and they're both primarily sword fighters. So there's that theme as well. But these two characters could not be more different. Um, Zoro was, as we saw in the preview, he wanted to be the best swordsman in the land. And he went to a school to prove that, but he lost to the master's daughter 2001 times. But then she died. He was granted her sword, and he set off to become the best fighter ever. Became a bounty hunter. Was found by Luffy, and the rest is One Piece history. But he never lost that goal trying to be the best swordsman in the land. Then you got Erza, who had like a crappy childhood to say the least, and once she learned about her requip magic, became part of Fairy Tail, and protected the land, helped out her guild, and just became like this uber amazing warrior. Um, so these are like the top tier like fighters wise. So it's I almost wish this was a 3D battle, even though I'm 95% sure it's 2D, because this could have been something really really special. That being said, I think this has the potential to be a really cool 2D fight too, because I know that 2D battles do get a bad rap, and I've helped add to that, obviously, because there have been some clunkers, especially visuals wise. But if they pull off this one off like they did a Toph Gar, which is easily one of the best ones, I think it'll be just fine. Now, as I go into my prediction, I'm conflicted because I don't know these characters, and so I feel for me when I make these predictions, I like to have a connection to the character. And even though I do the research, and I totally did research for this one, um, I, sorry, I don't know. It just feels odd that I'm talking about two characters who I technically don't know, I haven't watched. So I can only go by what I read. Yes, I could have watched all 1,300 episodes of the shows combined, but I don't have that kind of time. So again, I have to go by what I know. And this one, I definitely flip flopped on this one because I didn't know them. Then I read a wiki for Zoro, and he seemed pretty awesome. Then I watched the Death Battle cast, and I heard about Erza, and I'm like, well, maybe Erza could win potentially. Then I read Erza's bio, and I'm like, yeah, Erza's pretty epic, and so I'm like, you know, this is definitely one of those battles where I'm not gonna be mad if I'm wrong. I mean, I'll be mad in the sense that I will have lost my, my 3 pick streak, if you will. Um, but I don't know, it's just hard. For me, the biggest difference between Zoro and Scarlet, and I don't mean this to be obvious, is the magic. Erza uses requip magic, which if you haven't watched the preview, it basically means she has this, was defined as a dimension where she can house weapons and armor that she can literally snap into existence around her on the fly. This makes her an incredibly deadly opponent. Versus Zoro, who has technically doesn't have any armor. He just wears, his regular clothes, and he has 3 swords, one of which stays the same. The other 2 get swapped out. Um, and I think that's where this battle gets broken because both of these fighters have incredible strength. I mean, like it's documented how strong these characters are, even without their swords. I mean, once again, with the swords, they're insane, but without the swords, they're incredibly strong. Like it's been documented that Zoro has lifted a building with one hand. And when he was a kid, he lifted boulders with one hand and could throw them, So now after 800 episodes, what they call the time skip, he's even more powerful. Um, Both are incredibly fast, for different reasons. Like apparently Zoro can run underwater, which is not easy. With the speed of a fish man who apparently has incredible speeds. And Erza, she's incredibly fast, and with her armor, she can actually fly, depending on the armor she's wearing. They both have incredible reflexes. They've both been able to dodge, insane amounts of items, like including ones that move faster than the eye can track, which just goes to show what they can do. And then they both have incredible endurance. Zoro famously took damage that both he and Luffy were taking somehow, anime. And even though Luffy fainted, he kept going, and then until like the fight was over or whatever, and he didn't. He went into a coma for 3 days afterwards, but he stayed conscious until it was over, and then he gave out. So that's how strong his will is. And Urza has taken multiple wounds, multiple stabs, multiple strikes, and kept going with and without her armor. So they have the stuff. There's a reason they're the top tier of their guild and crews. But with Urza, there's a slight difference. It's her requip magic. Uh, Officially, she has been documented as having like over 100 swords that she can use, and she has dozens, if not more, of armor. That have been shown both in the manga and in the anime, which will be referenced in the death battle. They actually talked about this in the death battle cast about how many armors she has. And yes, those some of them absolutely ridiculous. Anime, what can you do? They're incredibly powerful, and I think that's where this will get decided because her armors allow her more flexibility and more defense. Now, yes, Zoro has no doubt beaten people with high defenses, high even armors. I can't name them for certain, but I would bet money that he's beaten people with his sword techniques or even just his fist with incredible armor. However, Urza's armor is vast and numerous and insane to some degrees. I mean, there's like her heavenly wheel armor. There's her numerous what they call the goddess armors, which have an elemental attribute which gets nullified. Um, she's got armors that will increase her speed. She's got armors that will increase her strength, her defense. She's got armors with special weapons that would literally kill a person in one strike if it's hit, bar none. Like done. That kind of thing. And that's just the armors. Her swords, she can swap out on the fly. She has an armor. I think it was Heavenly Wheel that she can use all 200 of her swords. 200 of her swords at once because of this armor. And that seems rather impressive to me. Also seems rather scary. And the armor kind of looks ridiculous, but anime. I think anime is the most used word I have in this podcast, so there you go. it's just she has that versatility and her own. Here's how bad it gets. When I was looking up the bios, I obviously look for weaknesses because there's got to be a weakness, right? And the only weakness I could find of Urza is that responsible for she feels responsible when she fails. Like she has lost friends, lost guild members. She's tried and failed to save people, and it kills her. It just she breaks down, and she's incredibly emotional in that regard. Um, but that was basically it. Now, yes, she does have a magic reserve, not unlike Key for Dragon Ball Z fans. She does have a reserve. However, as noted by a friend of mine who has watched Fairy Tail, she can apparently use her own life force to uh, continue summoning her armors and magic even after, or in her swords after that's gone. And to add to this, she has apparently at some point in time uh, summoned every single one of her armors, every single one of her swords without running out of magic. Yeah, so I don't think Zoro can outlast her in regards to her armors and her weapons and not be defeated. Also, Zoro, I don't want to say limited because it sounds condescending, but he is limited in his uh, attacks, I should say, because he has his three swords and he is a good hand-to-hand combat fighter. But Erza has swords, she has lances, she has bows, uh, she has again just versatility, and she herself is actually a pretty epic hand-to-hand fighter. She apparently knocked a guy away with her wrist. She just went like and like knocked him away. So she's no slouch herself, and then add that with her speed of reflexes, and she's no doubt as good, if not better, than Zoro in hand-to-hand combat. Um, Again, it's hard because I don't obviously the death battle itself is going to be limited by like what they'll show armor wise, but even if they just take into account, and they had to take into account like all these different armors and all his different abilities, I just don't see how Erza can lose. And then here's the best part: she at times decides I don't need my armor. Okay, she has what she calls her what was it called? Open heart armor or everything. And it's basically just her cloth and her chest wrapped up, to symbolize, that, I'm opening myself up and I don't need these armors to protect me. And she's killed people in definitive fashion with this armor, including like one of the most powerful assassins in the world. She has defeated 100 monsters in one night, a feat that was apparently impossible with like no armor, and like just her swords. So I don't know. Now, yes, Zoro has an incredible amount of victories. I mean, again, 800 episodes. He's got to have beaten someone. And I was a joke. I know he's beaten someone, but you know what it comes down to is when you're a master of what you are, how far do you push yourself? With Zoro, he's always said, I'm going to be the best swordsman. And he's had like the three swords. He's invented his own style, two in the hands, one in the teeth. He's had that one sword that whole time and two swapped out. But it's basically the same sword. With Erza, she has mastered like all these what's defined as knight weapons, lances, staves in some cases, bows and arrows, and swords, and axes. She's mastered all of them. So it would seem kind of odd to me that she doesn't have a sword or a weapon or a armor that would neutralize what he can do. Oh, and I just remembered she has telekinesis. Yeah. So she's strong, she's smart, she's very smart. She's versatile, and she can use her mind, as in telekinesis powers. So yeah, again and again, if I'm wrong, if I have missed something about Zoro that would tip the balance in his favor, it's incredibly possible. I've only done a certain amount of research for this, and I don't watch the anime, so now obviously pre-time skip this wouldn't even been close. They even note that in the bio I read that pre-time skip, he was limited, but obviously they're going to use after time skip because of the how death battle works, which is great. So but I just feel that given her body of work, body of work, um, fairy tale fans will get that joke. Given her body of work, given all her armors, all her weapons, her magic, her telekinesis, everything else, she matches and surpasses Zoro, in my opinion, in every single way. I mean, she has beaten people that she should not have beaten, but she did. She's beaten people with armor, without armor, with her swords, without her swords. She's the total package. So I am officially casting my vote for Erza Scarlet to beat Roronoa Zoro. That's probably the smoothest I've said his name all episode. So there you go. So let me know what you think of my thoughts. Let me know who you think is going to win the battle between the epic swordsmen. And remember, if you've seen it already, don't spoil it. I will find you. Also, quick shout out: I write comics if you didn't know, and I have a comic Kickstarter right now going on for the fourth issue of my book Home. Um, and we're actually really close to our goal at the time of this recording, like 300 some odd dollars away. We actually just revealed a new reward to get this lovely little plush toy that we had custom made for this Kickstarter. Isn't that right? Yeah, it's custom made. That's right. That's right. You were. So, if you want this amazing creature, or if you want to get a whole bunch of comics for a low cost, if you want to be drawn into the comic book, if you want to be rewarded with special cosplay prints or anything else, check out the link we have in the description of this video, and I'll also put it in the comments so you have easy access. And check out Home. If you haven't read Home, don't worry about it. We got rewards that'll catch you up on the entire series. So, with that, I will end this episode of Todd Talk. Again, let me know what your thoughts on, and let me know who you think is going to be in the final battle of the season, which is coming next after Zoro versus Scarlet. So, who do you think they're going to do? Are they going to do the one they've been teasing for a while? We'll find out. So, I thank you for watching. If you made this far, I know you were listening. And I will see you